Marc Raimondi for ESPN, joined today by, this man needs literally no introduction. It's the nature boy, the legend, the GOAT, Ric Flair. Also with us today is Ric Flair's business partner, Chad Bronstein. Rick, you got a lot of things going on. For a guy who has seen and done it all, you got a lot of your irons are in a lot of fires right now. You got the energy drink, you got the Ric Flair drip, marijuana brands. I know Chad is your business partner with that. And now, just a few days ago, you showed up in AEW. What's going on? What's going on with you in AEW?
Well, it's all basically a result, as I said on an earlier interview, to me running into Chad Bronstein. Guys, it's almost 2 years. It seems like forever, but we had boats next to each other at the same marina in Tampa, and he just introduced himself and said, "What do you think about getting in the marijuana business?" And I actually had been I can't even remember the people's names, but I've been approached by about three other people over the years, but it wasn't as socially acceptable, and I was working for WWE anyway, so it wouldn't have been. I didn't waste anybody's time, sitting down with them. But I was an total independent contractor, and I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." And then here we are today, man, marching along, making headway, going national now with the AEW, and I just, out of courtesy, we ran it by the WWE, and they have so much going on. No fault of anybody's, but they, with the merger and all that, they've got so much going on that they just kind of, they moved past it. In other words, it was no disrespect to us whatsoever. They just weren't doing anything at the time. So I ran it by Tony Khan, and Tony called me, and then I put Chad on the phone, the brains behind it all, and here we are, man, launching. And I think it'll air for the first time this coming Wednesday. Yeah. This coming Wednesday, on Dynamite next Wednesday.
Okay, so it's a partnership with AEW also on the business side, as almost a sponsor.
Yes.
Yep. So we're the official. So I think we're announcing at 3:00 today, but you're the official energy drink sponsor of the AEW.
Okay. Wow.
So we're both across the United States and every country they air, and we'll be the official energy sponsor.
Wow. Well, congrats on that. And Rick, it was a surprise.
It's a big deal, boy, because when you see it on national TV, it's a whole different complexion. Does that make sense to you? And worldwide. Those guys did 81,000 people in Wembley Stadium. They're going back in August. Hopefully me with them, but we have a chance that if we can, this could help, promote the drink in Europe and all over. So, and Chad's got the keys to the door. He can reach out to anybody, vendors all over the world, he and his partners. So, we're ready to go.
It sounds to me, Rick, like you're gonna be just about almost full time with AEW, or almost every week on the show.
I don't know. We've got a structured deal in place, but me, have gun will travel. If they need me, I'm available, and they'll always treat me fair. We all went up there together for the initial show, and just the guys were great. People were friendly. At my age, the world of jealousy has never been bigger. You don't think there's a lot of jealous people that I'm back on TV, you're out of your mind. That adage that you want to see somebody do good, but not too good. He's back. Wait till they see that the energy drink is sponsored. They're going to really go upside down. Chad's buying me a 130-foot yacht.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Actually, Mark is now.
Yeah.
Actually, I just thought, Chad, he's moving back to his palatial mansion in Chicago, and I could just move into your place while you're gone, Chad.
I can maybe afford like a toy boat. I don't know about a
yacht. Mark,
Rick,
go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, Rick. You came out a couple of weeks ago during Sting's segment, and he is kind of on his retirement run right now. I think he said he's going to retire in March 2024. And you guys, you guys were up and down the roads together for so many years, for decades. And I know that he means a lot to you. You mean a lot to him. What do you see as Sting's legacy now, X amount of years later?
Oh God, his legacy is unscathed. I mean, he's done everything he ever wanted to do. And he's always been, as I said, from the bottom of my heart, there's not a nicer guy. The two nicest guys in the history of the business, and it's hard to be nice all the time, are he and Ricky Steamboat. And I've never even seen Sting have a cross word with anybody. He may have gone through periods of frustration, as we all do, but I can never remember him complaining. And man, he and I sold out so many buildings over the years. The first Clash of Champions against WrestleMania. I mean, I was telling someone earlier that I don't think the longest match he'd ever had was more than like 15 minutes. And then they go 56 minutes on national TV. Man, he stole it. He didn't even take a deep breath. That's really hard to do. I mean, he came to get over, and he did. And a lot of guys would sit back and go, oh, what I mean? He didn't stop. And he hasn't stopped since.
Have you watched some of his work with AEW? Because he's done, Rick, some like high flying daredevil things.
I know. Yeah,
pretty crazy for a man who's in his mid 60s. That's pretty wild.
Yep, it sure is. But he doesn't compute danger. You get to the point where you get numb with worrying about it. When you start worrying about getting hurt, that's when you get hurt. You gotta know that you can walk across the street and get hit by a car. That's kind of how I live, right? So they want me to jump through a table, I'm going to do it. Like when I saw Edge backstage, I said, the first thing I said was no ladder matches. Like Vince said, I was 57 years old in a ladder match. I said, what am I doing in a ladder match? Edge, I'm not going to do anything to you. Do what you want to me. I don't know how to do that stuff, But I'll tell you, AEW's product, right? The only difference between the two products right now, and I'm after seeing a couple of matches like the MJF,
Kenny Omega
match. Oh my God, the bumps to the table. I mean, and the match between Andrade and Bryan Danielson on Collision. I mean, there's no better matches in the business than those right now, and WWE is not producing better matches. Good, but not better.
Is there anyone else now that you're there that you'd be interested in working with? And I think there's probably a name that you just mentioned that you might answer here, but anyone out there that you're interested in working with?
I mean, after Sting?
Yeah, after Sting, of course. Yeah,
I would love to manage Andrade.
That's what I thought you'd say.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to do is I want to be a heel and have a conversation with MJF.
A promo battle?
Promo battle, yeah.
We need to make that happen. Tony Khan.
Let's see what you got, kid.
Have you followed his work? Like, how do you feel about?
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, he's spot on. I mean, I don't think Tony has to worry about him leaving, because I think he sounds like he's a very sincere, honest person. I don't know. I think I've only met him one time, but I look forward to that opportunity. He's a very, very talented guy. You know what I mean? The only thing I don't like, and it seems, but I know it's social media, is there's always this: are they gonna leave? Not just him. It's like CM Punk going to WWE. I mean, it's just the rumors are to me take away from the fact that they are doing such a good job where they are. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not being critical of it. I'm just saying I've never seen a business any shape or form where they love to have rumors. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. 100%.
I mean, I actually made a mistake. I read somewhere that Rey Mysterio was going to retire. This is about 6 months ago, and I said to Hunter, I go, is Ray retiring? And Hunter said, what are you doing, reading the dirt sheets? And I know Ray real well. I don't know whether he's had 10 knee operations. Does that make sense?
When I was getting set up earlier today, Rick, I ran into this from last year, the credential for
Yeah, there
the
you
last
go.
match.
Were you there?
I was there. I was there too, Mark.
Yeah, and I did a big story for ESPN about your last match, and I have to ask this question now that you're in AEW: is there going to be a last match, or are you done?
Well, you know, I'm up for it, but they won't let that happen. I learned a lot from that match. You know what I mean? Instead of being, it's kind of like, do you have time for a good story?
I always have time for a good story from the nation.
Okay. Well, so the night before WrestleMania, right, with Sean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's partying at the Marriott. We were at the Marriott in Orlando, and everybody was there, and I wasn't drinking. And Michael Hayes looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm just drinking. I'm nervous about tomorrow drinking. He said, "Are you kidding me? You're 59 years old. You have drank all night, not gone to bed, and had some of the best matches in the history of the business. Don't change it up now." I just started drinking. Sure enough, I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up like this and going, "What have I done to myself?" But it's the way I lived my life, you know. And it truer words have never been spoken. I just, you know, you can't change who you are and just try to make. And I was in the last match, I was just so wound up and, you know, making sure that I weighed exactly the same thing. I didn't hydrate. I woke up and I was 2 pounds heavier and I only ate 2 egg white bites and a cup of coffee, and I didn't drink any water or anything. So I just got dehydrated. So I've learned, but as far as physically, I mean, I don't think there's anybody. I'm trying to think who is anywhere near my age that hasn't had knee replacements, shoulder replacements, hip replacements, and I don't have any of that. And I don't hurt. I'm not real flexible because I've torn my rotator cuff 3 times, but I don't hurt. And that's the key. So what the hell? They want to throw me through a table. I'm up for it.
Please don't do that, Rick. Please don't do that. Chad is over there with his hat in his hands, probably like, oh my goodness, please.
No, he knows me.
Mark,
he
one thing you gotta understand about Rick.
Hey, listen, Chad's trying to beat up Ty Dover every time I see him. The enforcer. Chad's pretty aggressive. So.
Listen, Mark,
he wants to wrestle everybody.
Yeah, right. No, Mark, you know Rick, you can't control him. So whatever he wants to do, he's gonna do.
That's true. Maybe there's one more match out there for you.
Well, there's got to be one more bump at
least. One more bump.
Yeah, you can't be a manager and not take bumps. It just doesn't make sense. You got to be able to feed and jump in and move around, and I do all that. I train hard, so we'll see. I'm up for anything.
You mentioned earlier about the WWE, the UFC merger. They're TKO now under Endeavor. It's pretty crazy, right, for the combat sports scene to see those two big powerhouses come together. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are I never thought Vince would sell. But he priced it so high. I don't think anybody thought anybody would buy it, you know. So I don't know enough about it to comment. Someone just told me the stock went way down, and I don't know why that would happen, but because their shows are very good. The arenas are sold out. They just came back from a UK tour that my daughter was on. Every arena was sold out. I mean, I don't know why the stock went down. I just never thought, because to me, that if Vince says, well, he said to me one time, we're a lot like each other. It's just the business is our life. And yeah, we can find joy. I can go fishing and I love boating and all that, but I love wrestling. And that's just to be able to go out and do this one more time with Tony and with a guy that I have more respect for than probably 90% of the people I've known, Sting. I mean, he was all about it. And, you know, trust me, Sting had to approve all this. I mean, and he was all for it. And when I saw him, he hugged me and said, "Man, let's do this." What an invitation, right?
Just a couple of last ones for you, man. We mentioned WWE, UFC. There's a guy the UFC has, and I'm sure you know him a little bit, or at least you've seen him and heard about him. he's drawn some comparisons to you for some of the flashy things that he wears, the coats, the jackets, the suits. Conor McGregor is who I'm talking about.
Sure.
What do you think of Conor McGregor, and do you see any Ric Flair in Conor McGregor?
He stole my gimmick. He's not the only one. He's watching TV. Don't let him think he won. He's not the one to grow up on me.
So you think he's doing the nature boy?
I think he's awesome. To answer your question, and one of the greatest fights I've ever seen, I was at Jay-Z's in New York. Was that him and that Nate Diaz, man? I can't remember. That's been probably 8-9 years ago, but or well, maybe like 6 years ago.
Yeah, 7 years ago.
That fight? Yeah, God, he's a tough kid. All those guys are tough, boy.